Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks. Somebody's trying to make a Cribbage board and they're using the grid paper. I can't stand it, so I'm gonna have to turn that off. I'm gonna make our board at the same rotation of our other board. He's trying to make this. This board was made on a CNC router. I can tell by the bit movement in the angle of the bit, which did a good job, but you can do this on your laser. And I've already taken some measurements. He needed, I'm just gonna delete these lines, how he did it. I'm not telling you did a bad job, but I think my way is gonna be a little bit quicker. So the outside of our board is 18 by 22. There's a 1-inch lip and a 2-inch lip. So we're gonna change our nudge distance to 2 inches. We're gonna take a 2-point line and go from that node to that node, and somehow the grid is still in the background. I need to look into that. I do not like that, even though we have the grid turned off. And then I'm going to draw one more line. And so you have to be dead on that corner. And then we're going to change our nudge distance now to 1 inch. And if you find you change it before. Now let's change our nudge distance to like 20 inches. Let's take the Smart Fill tool and fill that in with black. What's going on? Fill that in with black and nudge it down. Nudge our outside of our box up and just delete these lines. We don't need them. Now we can nudge this back up and back down. And we can left click, right click. Now we have 2 inches and 1 inch. So now we need to make these 5 segments. Pretty easily done. Let's take a rectangle tool. You know what? Let's don't use the rectangle tool. Let's use the rectangle tool. It's 14 inches. You know what, let's don't, because then you're going to have to place that guy perfectly. So let's use the parallel 2-point line. I did not rehearse this. I'm just going off the cuff. I'm going from that grid to that grid, and we're going to move it 1/4 of an inch, 0.25. Take that line, and if just a word of warning, if you would change your nudge distance first, then you don't have to go back and get it, because you've got it right there. Now let's take the Smart Fill tool, fill that in. We got a leak. That's what I don't like about that. That grid is causing me trouble because it's not connecting it good, but we can fix that. Go past it. Let's make sure we're at the top. Yep, we're good. I think. Take the Smart Fill tool and fill that in, and fill that in. Now let's nudge these guys out of the way, like 20 inches. Let's take the Smart Fill and nudge it out of the way, and you're going to see why in a minute. So now I have 2 1/4-inch lines. I can now take away these other lines. Whoop. With the pick tool. See, if we would have used rectangles, we would have had to have them a lot better placed. Now we're going to grab these 2 lines, but before we grab these 2 lines, for some reason the Smart Fill tool does this sometimes. These lines ought to be equal, but they're not. That arrow is going that away at the bottom. This arrow is going that away at the top. So we need to rotate this, mirror this guy, so they're both going the same direction before we blend it. We need to go to Effects and Blend 4 times to make the 5 squares, okay? We're gonna leave these guys down here for a second. Now we're gonna do the same for the top, or going the other direction. 2-point line, change our nudge distance to 1/4 of it. In that grid, I need to I'm going to ask one of my mentors what's going on with that line. See, we're only 1875. Let's change our nudge distance to 1/4 inch. And nudge that down. Do the same thing on the other side. I don't know, that should say node and not grid. The grid's kind of running in the background, and I didn't do a very good job, I can see that. It even looks like my box is not level. How's that possible? Wow. So we're going to fix that right now. We're going to take this node and move that node to that corner. I don't know how that did that. I probably just, when I drew the line the first time. So now we're going to take our 2-point line and 1/4 inch up, take the Smart Fill tool, and now let's nudge it. Let's nudge these guys out of the way, 18 inches. And like I said, if you'd said that before, you wouldn't have to do this. I'm going to have to hit it twice to get all the way. Now, we should be able to blend these, but we have to do the same test. With this, that one's going down. That one's going up on the other side, so we need to flip it completely. I flipped it both directions. Effects, blend, 4 times. Wow, it worked. Now, in theory, we should be able to get rid of this box. But just in case, let's just nudge it out of the way. Now, we've got 18, put it back. I think we did this one 20. So if I would have kept it on the same plane, there you have your burn lines that are 1/4 inch thick, leaving that. Now, you could probably grab all that and combine it, or at least group it. Oh, you know why we can't combine it? Because it's still a blend. So we need to select it all, go to Object. Maybe we can't select it all. Select that, go to Object, ungroup. So it's still it should have still been a blend. I'm gonna have to, I should have unblended them before. Let's do that. Let's move those down. And I got these undone. So let's do this. Object. Well, maybe not. Up. Now we should be able to take all this and combine it. That way you won't get like, nothing will be wrong. Whoop, didn't want to do that. And combining didn't work because it took it away. So I would just not even worry about it because it's going to burn. Even if you have 2 blacks on top of each other, excuse me, it's only going to burn once. I would group them together. Now, sorry it took so long. I'm going to do one more video on how to do the holes, and I have an idea for him. He's going to mark the holes with the laser and then drill them, hopefully on a drill press. But I've done this several times on other games, and it's pretty important. But that's how I would do it. Hope that helped a little bit. Thank you for watching.